seated. All right, we will continue with the cross-examination of Mr. Zapien. Mr. Zapien, please remember you're still under oath. Mr. Hobby.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Zapien, is it fair to say that you're having some troubles remembering back that far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if you had an opportunity to take a look at a report that was prepared about your interview with law enforcement that you've already described, might that help refresh your memory?
I would say it couldn't hurt.
Right. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Sir, it's not all that long, so why don't you just don't make me out loud? Why don't you just take the time to read that yourself and just let us know when you're done? You done, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Did that help refresh your memory on some of the things that took place back then?
Yeah, yes, it did.
Yeah, okay. So I'll leave that up there for you for your benefit. Take a minute. And let me just, again, ask some questions then about that time period. And that's why it helps to have these reports like we do. Okay. The phone number that you gave the officer at the time, the 309-793-1908, was that the phone number that you had or your girlfriend had, your mom had at the time?
To the best of my knowledge, yeah.
Okay, that doesn't strike you as an odd number or anything like that?
Not right offhand.
Okay. And you were staying with your mother, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And does it ring a bell now that you were talked to by Special Agent Gerald Carnes?
The name rings a bell, yeah.
Yeah, okay, and obviously seeing in that report helps refresh your memory on that, is that
Right.
fair? Okay, and so now, Special Agent, I'm guessing, does that mean to you somebody from the FBI?
Yeah.
And does that help explain the fact that it wasn't a squad car or a car that had radios in it?
Yeah.
Dan, does it ring a bell now that you're actually, when you were interviewed, that your girlfriend at the time, Stacy Digman, was there as well?
Yeah.
And do you now recall seeing two black males at the residence when you first arrived?
That I still do not recall.
Do you recall a small car that was a two-door brown Escort?
You know, they had a lot of cars that was parked there at various times and stuff like that. There might have been, but I am not going to say 100%, you know, in that it was there. Because there was cars, like I said, parked there all the time. They had a long driveway, so there was numerous cars that was parked there. It might have been, but to the best of my knowledge, it could have been there, but I do not remember the color. You know.
No, I understand. If you wouldn't have you wouldn't believe it was inaccurate if somebody had reported that you had said that, though. Is that correct?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. The purpose of this line of questioning and use of the report was to refresh his recollection, not to adopt something that he didn't write.
That's overruled. You can answer that question.
If it was parked there, like I said, it might have been, it might not have been, but it's not something that would really, there was nothing unique about it. If it was there, that would make it stand out, I guess, if that makes sense.
How about the physical description you gave of the two black males, where you listed height and approximate weights and what they're wearing and facial hair? Does any of that ring a bell?
Not at this time, but I mean, if I gave that description back then obviously my memory was a little bit better.
Memory jogged about phone calls made from the Glen residence to your residence after that evening.
Again, might have, but I do not recall. I might have called and told her there were some things going on down there. I don't know really what's going on. That's a possibility, but I'm not going to sit here and swear on it because I don't recall. I mean,
So you don't have any memory of if Miss Glenn called your residence after that evening? Shortly after that evening?
no, I don't.
You have a sidebar real quick?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Zapien, as I understand it, when you were over at the house, you were a younger man back then, fair enough?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you got bored more easily back then?
And say that again?
You got bored more easily back then?
Yeah.
If things slowed down at the party or wherever you were at, you want to move on?
Yeah.
And, and during that time, that included drinking beer,
Yes, sir.
okay? And it sounded like there was could be a social event at the Glens or people swinging by and kind of a party. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when you were, other than what you described for us today, back on those couple of days back in September of 1990, law enforcement never came back to talk to you, did they?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you were, other than the two interviews that we talked about, you never had another interview about this case from law enforcement.
No.
Okay. Did they did law enforcement ever search your residence for this case?
I want to say that they did search my resident and my car, but that's, again, I can't say that to be, a fact. I can't say that was for sure.
Okay, and so I suppose it's equally true that you wouldn't be able to say what law enforcement agency that was or who it was?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you have a memory of ever being served with a search warrant in this case for them to be able to search your house or your home?
I believe they gave my mother one, and I believe they searched my car, yeah.
Okay. Let me ask, what's your mother's name, sir?
Judith Myers.
Okay. And forgive this question, but is she still with us?
No, sir. She passed away in 2014.
Okay, sorry. Did they ever seize any of your clothing or anything like that when law enforcement was with you?
To the best of my knowledge, I do believe they did take some items. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe that they did.
When they searched your house, when they searched your car?
When they searched my house, I do not recall, but my car I do.
Okay, and so you believe that you don't know what, but you believe that when they searched your car, that they took some items?
Mm-hmm.
That they seized some items?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you may not have it at the time, but presumably they would have provided you with some sort of inventory of what they took from your car. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And was the search of the car and the search of your residence kind of at the same time? Your car was there, the residence was there, and they searched both, or did it happen at different times?
It happened at different times because I was working out at IAP at the time.
Did they ever swab your cheek or take any fluids from you?
That I do believe they did do that.
Okay, and did they ever, at the time as it relates to this investigation, take samples of your fingernails or scrape on your fingernails or anything like that?
That I do not recall.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect?
Just a couple questions, Your Honor. Mr. Zapien, obviously these events occurred nearly 28 years, a couple months shy of 28 years ago, correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever seen the report, ever read the report, or seen the report that Mr. Hawbaker handed you before today?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Anything further?
Nothing, Your Honor.
You may step down, thank you. Let me call your next witness.
State calls Fred Gonzales, please. Come forward and be sworn back in court, please.
Mr. Gonzales, will you just come right up here, please? Raise your right hand. Do you swear firmly to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, have a seat right up here. Go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you. Tell us your name, please.
Fred Gonzales,
Please spell your first name for us
F-R-E-D,
and your last name.
T-O-N-Z-A-L-E-S,
Where do you currently reside, Mr. Gonzales?
at North Iowa.
Have you lived, and that's part of the Quad Cities, correct?
Yes,
Have you lived in the Quad Cities your whole life?
yes.
What I want to do, Mr. Gonzales, is direct your attention to events occurring in 1990. Where were you living in 1990?
I was living in Rock Island.
Let's talk about September of 1990. Were you living in Rock Island at that time?
Yes, I was.
Did you know someone by the name of Joe Glenn?
Yes.
How did you meet Joe Glenn?
I sold him a motorcycle in January of 1990.
And then did you strike up a relationship where you would be able to work on cars at his home?
Yeah, we kept running into each other here and there, so we kind of got to know each other. And I got to use his yard to work on cars.
And tell me a little bit about that. When you say work on cars, what did you do? Did you fix cars for others, or what?
I just fixed them for myself, and sometimes we'd go in together and split the money on, fix them together.
So you would purchase a vehicle that needed repair,
Yes,
and then you would fix it,
right.
and then you would try to sell it at a profit.
Yes,
And did you say that sometimes Joe would go in with you on that?
right.
He would help purchase the car or go in on the car?
Yes.
Do you recall what residence, what home of the Glens you're referring to when you say you worked on cars there? Where was that located?
I was on 7th Avenue in Rock Island.
What I'm going to do now is show you an exhibit that's been marked, states proposed exhibit 61. Just take a look at that. Do you recognize what's depicted in that photograph?
Yes, that would be the Glen residence.
Is that, and as you're looking at States Exhibit 61, is that what the Glen residence looked like in September of 1990?
Yes,
And if we had been there with you working on cars in September of 1990, that's the home we would have seen.
Exactly.
Your Honor, I offer states Exhibit 61.
Any objection?
Vote yes.
Exhibit 61 is submitted.
Okay. Now, Mr. Gonzales, here across the courtroom, you are looking at a screen, and that is State's Exhibit 61, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. And some of this is fairly obvious, but we'll go ahead and state it for the record anyway while I'm pointing with this pointer. So this is the street, and I think you told us that this would be 7th Avenue in Rock Island?
Yes, that's 7th Avenue.
Okay, and I bet everybody knows what this is, but let's just say for sure, what door is that?
That's the front door of the Glen residence.
Okay, it's got stairs that come down in front here.
Yes.
And then off to the side here, what am I pointing to?
That's their driveway.
And as we look at the photograph, it's on the left side of the photograph, correct?
Correct.
And then we can't see it, but where would you fix cars when you were fixing cars at the Glen residence?
I was in the backyard, kind of behind that second car there.
This car right here?
Yes.
Okay. We see a white car in the driveway, is that correct?
Right.
Sort of quite close to the street.
Yes.
And then farther in, behind the dog, is another vehicle.
Yes.
That looks more, I don't know, copper or light brown color?
Yeah.
Okay. And then again, you down back behind the house is where you would fix cars.
Right.
Now what I'm going to do is direct your attention to events occurred specifically on September 17th of 1990. Do you recall that day?
Yes, I do.
Did you work on vehicles at the Glen residence on September 17th of 1990?
Yes, I got there about 12 o'clock that day.
That we knew.
About noon, yeah.
And who was at the house there when you got there?
Nobody.
So what'd you do?
I just continued to work on the car.
Can I stop? Well, you are stopped, but I'm going to insert a question here. How did you get to the Glen residence?
I drove my truck down there.
What type of vehicle were you working on?
I was a 1978 Chevy Impala,
What color was the Impala?
maroon.
What was the condition of the Impala?
I was in pretty decent shape, but it needed an engine. That's what I was doing to it.
It needed an engine, and that's what you were doing.
Yeah, I changed the engine in it.
So was the Impala drivable?
At the end of the day it was. I had finished it off that day.
Okay. So you got there at noon, and you're working on this. When you got there at noon, it wasn't working or operable.
Correct.
And you worked on it such that it was operable at the end of the day.
Yes.
What did you have to do anything with your truck in order to make the Chevy drivable?
With my truck? No.
Did the Chevy have a battery in it?
Oh, I changed the battery in it to put in the Impala to start it up.
So,
But I only had one battery.
so you had one battery, and that would be in the truck that you drove to the Glen residence.
Correct.
And in order to work on the vehicle and the Impala and see whether you could get it operating, you take the battery out of the Impala and out of your truck and put it in the Impala?
Correct.
And so as you stated, you got there at noon and you were by yourself for a while?
Yes.
Then did anyone come to the Glen house?
Guy by the name of Nate Roden stopped by a couple times, wanted me to move a couch.
Can you describe Nate for the jury, please?
I haven't seen him in years, I don't.
Well, is he a white guy?
He's a black male.
And would you think he was about your age?
Probably.
And he wanted some help with the couch.
Right.
And so what'd you do?
Well, I finally ended up moving it for him, because he had been there a couple times asking me to move it, but I had been busy, so I didn't do it.
All right? But this was on the 17th that he came a couple
Right.
times? So finally, did you help him out?
Yeah, around 2 o'clock, I helped him move it, and then I came back.
And when you helped him move it, did you have to go very far away? Where did Nate live?
No, it was probably only like a mile away or something, and I came right back after that.
So Nate, when you moved the couch, you moved it from one location in Rock Island to another location?
I moved it from the Glen residence to his house.
Okay, so then you came back, and I think you told us that was at about 2 o'clock?
About 2 o'clock.
How long did that take, the couch thing?
Oh, like 20 minutes or so.
Then you returned to the Glen residence?
Yes.
Okay, so then, did anyone else come to the Glen residence?
Stanley showed up that day, would have been about 3:30.
And you gave us the name Stanley,
Yes.
and at that time, did you know his last name?
No, I did not.
And is this Stanley that was there at the Glen residence on September 17th, is he in the courtroom?
Yes, he is.
And will you tell us where he's seated and what he's wearing?
He's on the right side of the table with sunglasses.
He's on the right side of the other table?
Yes.
With sunglasses? Yes?
Yes.
And that would be your right from where?
Correct, yes.
Tell me what Stanley did when he came over that.
Well, he pulled in the front driveway and parked, and then he came back to the back, and I said hi. I don't know if he heard me or not, but he didn't say nothing. He turned around and walked away.
And so that white car that we see there, that wasn't there on the 17th?
That was not there. That's where he parked.
What kind of car did he have?
It was a foreign car. I wasn't sure what type of car it was at the time, but it was kind of a maroon foreign car.
A foreign car.
Foreign, yes.
And did you see the entire car?
Just the front end.
And he said he came in and you said hi, and he came up to you in the backyard?
Yeah.
And it sounds like you said hi.
Yeah.
He said nothing,
Yeah.
and then he left?
Correct.
Did he get in his car and drive away?
Yes.
Okay. Then, how long were you by yourself at the Glen residence?
Probably another half hour, 45 minutes or so.
And who showed up in half hour, 45 minutes?
Well, I had left to go get my brother-in-law and my nephew,
And what are their names?
Jeff Collins and Jeffrey Nunes.
Nunez?
Nunes.
And what'd you bring them, what'd you do with them?
I brought them back, needed help putting a hood on the vehicle.
The Impala?
The Impala, yes.
And did Jeffrey Collins help you with that?
Yes, he did.
Then, what happened?
We were there probably about half hour or so, 45 minutes before Sherry and Joe came home with Jennifer. And they got out of the car, and I said hi and told them that Stanley had stopped by. And then I had asked Jennifer to go in the basement and give me some water for the radiator of the Impala. And she did that for me.
So you knew Jennifer?
Yes, I did.
And she helped you on that day?
Yes, she did.
What kind of a little girl was she?
A very sweet little girl.
Were you still in the yard by yourself after she had, well, no, you were with your...
Brother-in-law and nephew, yes.
But the Glens, were they in the house other than Jennifer when she helped you?
I believe they went in the house after that.
And then what happened?
Then we were only there for like 20 minutes after that, and we left.
And that would be you and Jeff and your nephew?
And my nephew, yes.
How'd you leave?
With my truck. Put the battery back in the truck and took off.
You took the battery out of the Impala, put it back in your truck, and drove your truck away?
Right.
And the Impala, did you have it, obviously you had a key to it, an ignition key?
Yeah, I had the only key to it.
And there was one ignition key to the Impala when you were working on it? One ignition key?
Just one, yes.
And you took it with you when you left that day?
Yes,
And you left the Impala without a battery?
correct.
So can you tell us about what time you would have left then, Glen home?
It would have been about 5:20 or so.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzales. I have no further questions for you. Please return this meeting.
Mr. Hawbaker?
Thank you, Your Honor. Morning.
Hi.
Were you parked at the Glenn's house? It's a picture in Exhibit 61. When you parked your truck there, was that parked where the white car's at, closer to that, or back where that rust-colored car's at? You know?
Actually, I had pulled in the west driveway on the other side of the house, and you could pull in the yard from that driveway, and I kind of pulled the truck in front of that station wagon.
Okay, you're going to help me. You have to help me out with east and west, thank you, for sure. Is this the west side?
No, that would be the east side.
Oh, okay, thank you. So this is the west side?
Correct.
Okay, so people can park there?
Yeah, nobody lived there, so we use the driveway sometimes, but I pulled all the way to the back behind the house and then pulled around kind of by the station wagon.
Okay, so since nobody lived in this house to what you know is the right-hand side of the picture, it's the west.
Either west.
West side, people that frequented the Glens would park there on occasion.
Sometimes, yeah.
And they would park on the east side as well.
Correct.
But there was access to the backyard from either driveway, is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And I suppose that kind of explains when you're working on a lot of cars why it's easier with the setup like that, because if people were parked there, that would block people into the
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
When you were at the house, did you see an individual or know of anybody named by Eddie Zapien?
No. I don't even know that person.
Did you receive a phone call that evening from Sherry Glenn?
Yes, it was about 9:30. She called me, wanted me to take her to look for Jennifer.
She wanted to use your car, is that right?
She just wanted me to take her around and look for her.
And that was at what time?
About 9:30 that evening.
What was your phone number, sir? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
It's probably fair to say your phone number's changed since back then.
Yeah. Okay.
If I showed you a report that has a phone number on it, what might refresh your memory as to what your number was at the time?
Yeah, probably.
It's my understanding, and if you agree with me, that some, I don't remember the phone number that I had when I was growing up, but you might remember it if I showed you something.
Right.
Okay. May I approach her?
Yes, you may.
Yep, that would have been
Okay, does that number look familiar?
it. Yes.
So, the appropriate area code is 7884638? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you believe that to be what your number was at the time?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So that would have been the phone number that Ms. Glenn would have called?
Probably yes.
Okay. further, Your Honor.
Anything further?
No redirect, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gonzales.
You may step down, thank you.
Thank you.
The state of Mary Ann County. Come forward and please start the court.
Ma'am, if you just come right up here, please. Fine. You want to raise your right hand, please? Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. If you'll just have a seat right up here.
Tell us your name, please.
Mary Ann Allen Watson.
I'm going to ask you to either sit a little closer to the microphone or pull the microphone.
Mary Ann Allen Watson.
Will you state your, or spell your first name for us?
M-A-R-Y.
And your middle name?
Ann, A-N-N.
And your next middle name?
Allen, A-L-L-E-N.
And your last?
Watson, W-A-T-S-O-N.
What city do you currently live in?
Peoria, Illinois.
How long have you lived in Peoria?
Oh, about 15 years.
How far from Rock Island is Peoria, Illinois? Approximately.
From about an hour and a half, about 2 hours, 2 hours and a half.
Okay. Did you live in Rock Island, Illinois?
Yes,
Did you live in Rock Island, Illinois in 1990?
yes,
And specifically in September of 1990, did you live in Rock Island?
yes.
What street in Rock Island did you live on?
6th Avenue,
6th Avenue?
yes.
And do you remember what your address on 6th Avenue was, or what block?
I want to say it was 1127 and a half.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Can you tell us who your children are?
Demetrius Allen, Eddie Allen, Marquise Allen, Shamika Allen, Shawanda Allen.
So I'm going to ask you to spell Dimitri's first name.
D-E-M-T-R-I-U-S.
And then your next child is Eddie?
Eddie, E-D-D-I-E. Marquise, M-A-R-Q-U-I-S. Shamika, S-H-A-M-E-K-A. And then Shawanda, S-H-A-W-A-N-D-A.
Okay. That might be the end of the spelling.
Yes.
Back in 1990, what was the range of ages of your children?
Oh my Lord.
Is that that's a pop quiz too? I mean, were they young?
Yeah, they was young.
Grade school?
Yes.
Did you know a little girl named Jennifer Lewis back in September of 1990?
Yes, I met her that day.
And under what circumstances did you meet Jennifer Lewis on September 17th of 1990?
She came over to my house to play with my two girls.
Was she about the same age as your girls?
Yes.
And do you know, how did Jennifer get there?
She was on the bike.
Was Jennifer a neighborhood kid then?
Yes, well, she stayed on 7th Avenue, so it was like, well, they always used to cut through the alley. And then it's a street, and then it was her house.
So just a little bit away.
Yes.
And I think you said she got to your house on her bike on September 17th, 1990?
Yes.
And you said that was the day you met her?
Yes, that was the first time I met her.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Proposed Exhibit 1. And I'd like you to take a look at this photograph. And do you recognize who's in that photograph?
That's her.
That's Jennifer Lewis?
Yes.
Is that what she looked like on September 17th, 1990?
Pretty much, yes.
And if the jury had been with you meeting her that day, that's what she would have been, that's what she looked like?
That's what she looked like.
What did you remember most prominently about her appearance?
Her smile.
Your Honor, I offer State's Exhibit 1.
Any objection?
None, Your Honor.
Exhibit 1 is admitted?
I'd like to show the jury the photograph, please.
Yes.
And that's Jennifer Lewis as she looked on September 17th of 1990,
Yes,
the day you met her.
yes,
And that's the smile that you just referred to.
yes.
So you said that she came over to play with your girls
Yes.
on September 17th. Had she, and obviously she hadn't done that before.
No, no.
Did you recall anything else remarkable about seeing Jennifer that day?
Well, she had came and asked me could my girls go over to her house, and I told her, no, that I don't let my girls go nowhere. So they played in front of the house, in front of my house.
And did you see Jennifer interact with anyone else that day as she was on her bike?
I seen her talking to someone in a reddish or maroon color car, but I couldn't see the person that she was talking to because she was talking to him on the driver's side.
So where were you when you saw Jennifer talking with someone in this?
I was sitting in my front doorway. So the way she was talking, like she knew the person, so I just got out the, door.
And where, was Jennifer with her bike?
Yeah, she was on her bike, sitting on her bike.
And where did this interaction take place with reference to where your house was located?
Okay, it's like a fence, but it's like a little picket white fence, and then it was the alley, and then it was like she was like at the corner almost of the alley.
And that's where the interaction took place?
Yes.
And it was Jennifer talking to the driver of the vehicle?
Yes,
And I think you said you...
I couldn't see the person.
But you did see the vehicle?
I did see the vehicle.
Did you see that vehicle again?
No.
Did you see it in a courtroom?
Yes.
And you saw the same vehicle that Jennifer interacted with on September 17th later in
Yes.
the courtroom?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 86, capital A. And is that the vehicle you saw Jennifer interacting with on September 17th, 1990?
Yes.
Your Honor, I offer State's Exhibit 86A.
I understand there's no objection, is that correct? 86A is admitted?
And I'd like to show the jury.
Yes, you may.
Okay, Ms. Allen, or Ms. Watts.
Yes.
Just blank out. You just testified that, what we're looking at here on the screen is State's Exhibit 86, capital A. You testified that depicted in this exhibit is the vehicle that you saw Jennifer interacting with on September 17th, 1990.
Yes.
Now, of course, as stated, it's in a courtroom, isn't that right?
Yes.
So, the front end of the car is missing, correct?
Yes.
But it was a working, operable entire car when you saw it on
Yes.
September 17th.
Yes.
But you still recognize it as the car she interacted with?
Yes.
Was Jennifer alone when she was interacting with
Yes.
the driver?
Yes.
And you said she was on the driver's side?
Yes.
Interacting with the driver?
Yes.
have no further questions for you, Ms. Watson. These attorneys may.
Okay.
Mr. Hawbaker?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, what time did Jennifer Lewis arrive at your house?
It was like after school, so it had to be about 4:30, somewhere in there.
And do you remember how long she stayed?
Well, I know it was getting, I had told her she had to leave before it got dark outside because the street lights hadn't came on yet, so, you know.
And you remember today that the street lights had not?
No, it wasn't no, there was no street lights on at that time.
Okay.
Because it, you know, like, it wasn't light like it is now, and it wasn't dark, you know, so it's like in the middle.
Is it safe to refer to that as dusk?
Yeah, that's what I called it, dusk
Okay,
dark.
the sun was starting to go down.
Yes,
And you know, oftentimes that's when kids are supposed to be home.
yes, back
So
in the
that was
days.
the time that she left your house?
Yes,
And she would have had her bike at that time?
yes,
So just before dark, Jennifer Lewis left your house?
yes.
So she would have been at your house from 4 till, do you remember what time it got dark?
No, I know back in them days, they probably got dark about 6:30, 7 o'clock, somewhere in there.
Okay, so she was at your house for approximately 2.5 to 3 hours.
No, about 2 hours, I want to say, about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
But you remember it being dusk when she left?
Yes,
Do you remember what time you saw the interaction with the individual in the car?
no, I know it was before she got ready to leave.
So it was while she was in the neighborhood playing with
Right,
kids?
mhm.
Okay, and, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
I have no redirect. Thank you.
Thank you. You may sit down.
thank you.
And call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, pursuant to the previous order and reading of the parties, the state would read into the record exhibit 516, the former testimony of Diane Pemberton, that is going to be read by Dr. Burridge.
Mr. Walton, I don't believe I have a copy of that one. All right, and Exhibit 516 is admitted subject to the exclusion of the pages we put on the record earlier. Go ahead when you're ready, Mr. Walton.
Thank you, Your Honor. Diane Pemberton, called as a witness by the state, being first duly sworn by the court, was examined and testified as follows. Mrs. Pemberton, will you pull that microphone to you? Now, would you tell this jury who you are?
My name is Diane Pemberton,
Spell your first name.
D-I-A-N-E,
One N.
right,
And your last name, please?
P-E-M-B-E-R-T-O-N,
Mrs. Pemberton, where do you live?
906 7th Avenue, Rock Island.
That's the state of Illinois?
Yes, it is.
How long have you lived there?
Oh, for about a year.
Was there a time in 1990 that you lived someplace else?
Yes.
Tell the jury where that was.
1119 6th Avenue, Rock Island.
Still in Illinois?
Yes.
Did you live there in the month of September 1990?
Yes, I did.
You raised your children there, didn't you?
Yes.
How many children did you have at that residence?
7.
You know the little girl that's in State's Exhibit 1?
Yes.
And who is it?
Jennifer Lewis.
Back in 1990, did Jennifer live in your neighborhood?
No, I don't exactly know the location where she stayed at. I knew she stayed on 12th Street.
Did she come by your house?
Yes, she did.
Did she come by on a regular basis?
She came there to play with my kids and the neighborhood kids.
So it wouldn't be unusual to see her there.
No,
And how did she usually get there?
on a bicycle.
State's Exhibit 68 being admitted by agreement of the parties.
'68 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 68, is that a picture of the bicycle for the kind that she had?
Yes,
When the summer months come, sometimes you sit on the porch
yes,
and do a couple of things there, can't you?
yes,
One is supervise your children
right,
and watch out for the children in the neighborhood.
yes,
You remember that day that Jennifer disappeared?
yes,
We talked to you about it often, haven't we?
yes,
A lot of people have.
yes.
On the day that you disappeared, were you doing supervision like you just told the jury?
Yes, I was sitting out on the porch and she happened to come by the house. She was really excited.
So we can keep the record straight for somebody reading it later. By she, you mean Jennifer?
Jennifer. She came by on a bicycle when I was sitting on the porch. She was real excited about her birthday and a birthday party she was supposed to have.
And she talked to you a little bit about it.
Yes, she did.
Was there something as a parent and as an observer of children, something out of the ordinary or something that bothered you?
Yes. Jennifer and my son and some more of the neighborhood kids, they was riding on their bicycles and well, I don't know if they went to Jennifer's house or what, but they hit 12th Street in about 10 minutes. They came back riding on their bicycles. And I lived at 1119 6th Street, and that's between 11th Street and 12th Street. And the kids came riding their bicycles. What they did, they stopped in the alleyway. And let's see my house, and then there's a gray house, and the alleyway sits on the side of the gray house. But my house sits up farther from the gray house. So I was sitting on the porch and I could see the kids because they were in like the front part of the alley. And so the kids were laughing and talking and a car from the 12th Street and made a left turn and came on 6th Avenue.
Are there one-way streets there? Are any of the streets one-way?
I don't think so.
But you did observe this car go in the direction that you just told the jury, a left-hand or right-hand turn to go in front of your house.
A left.
Now, you just put yourself in the car and figured out it was a left.
Yes.
The car turns left and goes in front of your house.
Before we get to my house, it was going rather slow. And so I was sitting on the porch and made it kind of obvious because I knew the kids were in the alley. And when the car came to a halt right in front of my house, and Jennifer and the other kids.
Your Honor, I would like to interpose an objection to the narrative form of answer. Requested to be more of a question and answer form. So if there is an objection to be made, I'll have time to interpose it.
I think we need to go by question and an answer, counsel.
I think you just told the jury now that the car is in front of your house and the children are in the alley.
Yes.
Just answer my questions and not anticipate what the next question will be.
Okay.
Then what happened?
The car stopped and the guy beckoned for Jennifer to come here.
Second,
Can I stop for a second? Can you sit back a little bit from your mic? Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
second,
Yes,
that means calls for her.
with his hand.
He motioned for her.
Yes,
Did she acknowledge it?
yes.
And what did she do after he beckoned for her?
She was smiling and she waved and she went to the car.
Could you tell us if it was a two-door or a four-door? Do you remember?
I would say I think it was a 4-door.
Do you remember what door where she went to?
To the driver's side.
She went right up beside the door of the driver who was next to?
Yes, she did.
Do you remember what time of day that was?
It was in the evening, I would say between 5:30, maybe 6:30.
What are you basing your time on?
Because the kids had got out of school and they mostly get out about 5 o'clock.
And you had been sitting on the porch a while,
Yes,
but you're estimating the time was 5:30 to what?
5:30, no later than 6:30.
Do you remember what kind of car it was?
Burgundy?
State's Exhibit 86A, do you recognize that car?
Yes,
Is that the car?
yes it is.
I'm going to stand behind a man here, and you tell this jury who I am standing behind.
Stanley Liggins?
Is that the man you saw in the car that day?
Yes,
In the past, you've been asked about this and had trouble identifying him, did you not?
yes.
Was that because of his hair?
His hair was much longer.
Any doubt in your mind right now, that's the man?
No, there isn't.
That little red car, State's Exhibit number 86A, and the man you identified as Stanley Liggins. Had you seen him in the neighborhood earlier that day?
Yes,
Had you seen him in the neighborhood before?
I'm sorry.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
Oh, I apologize. I apologize to back up.
Started March 14th.
Yes. And then I have to start at page 505, line 15. Maps can be confusing, and we get an overhead view of our house or neighborhood. It's one that we're not used to. I'm going to show you one, and the best you can show the jury the streets you're talking about. This is State's Exhibit number 4. I'm going to come around by you with the permission of the court. Put it right up here. This has been identified. It's hard to hold up. It's been identified as Max Liquor. This has been identified as Max Liquor Store. The streets are on here. This is 11th Street. These are the avenues, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So we know the way they run. Show this jury where your house is and where that car came from and where it stopped.
My house is,
If we go over here, she has to hear and they have to hear it.
my house is right here. The car came from this way and turned over here.
And what street is that?
That's 12th Street. This is 12th Street.
And where are the avenues? What avenue is that?
I'm sorry, line
Line 16.
right here.
The one that you say he turned off onto?
6th Avenue.
That little red car states exhibit number 86A, and the man you identified as Stanley Liggins. Have you seen him in the neighborhood earlier that day?
Yeah,
Have you seen him in the neighborhood before?
no, not before then, no.
And you saw him in that car driving?
Yes, I did.
No further direct examination, Your Honor.
They cross-examined?
Did you say that you did see Mr. Liggins earlier that day, or did not?
I did.
What time of day?
I would say between 2:30.
Was he on foot?
No,
What was he doing?
he was riding in the car.
What car?
The car right there.
State's Exhibit 86, the partial car that's in the courtroom.
Yes,
And you're saying you saw this car around 2:30 in the afternoon in the neighborhood?
yes,
Very same car that you saw Jennifer go over to driven by Stanley Liggins.
yes,
Do you recall having been sworn to tell the truth about what you saw or didn't see on more than one occasion, Ms. Pemberton?
yes,
Transcript volume 159 through 160, lines 1 through 14. Do you remember on one occasion being placed under oath, and I'll stay seated, placed under oath in 1993 and asked about whether or not you had seen Stanley Liggins board the car that day? Do you remember being asked about it?
yes,
Do you remember being asked, 160, line 20, about Jennifer? What was her spirit like? And giving this answer, she was real happy. Do you remember that?
yes,
And do you remember being asked, how could you tell, being asked, how could you tell? And giving the answer, she was smiling and carrying on telling everybody she had a birthday coming up.
yes,
Do you recall being asked this? What else did you observe that afternoon? And giving the answer, her and some little kids were playing on bicycles and things. And she was telling me about her birthday coming up in the alleyway, which is also on 6th Avenue, but kind of on the sideline. And she was playing with the other kids, and a car came down the street. Do you remember that?
yes,
Do you remember being asked, had you seen that car before? Do you remember being asked that?
yes.
And what was your answer?
I said yes.
Are you sure you said yes? Are you certain you didn't just say no? Let me show you what I'm reading from. First being duly sworn, this is you, right?
Yes,
And the questions and the answers that I just read, you see them here on the page.
yes,
And now you see when you were asked under oath, had you seen that car before? And you answered no. It's in black and white, isn't it?
yes,
You're under oath today.
yes,
You were under oath then.
yes,
Ms. Pemberton, are you all right if I call you that?
yes,
I've just shown you, let me start over. Today in court, in response to a question from counsel from the state, you identified the car over here, number 86, the maroon partial car, and indicated that this was the car, and also identified Mr. Liggins, correct?
yes,
Then did you not tell us under oath today that you had seen the car before that occasion on that day, about 2:30?
yes, I said it.
Now, think back to the transcript that I just read to you and showed you. Do you even remember being asked, had you seen that car before, referring to that same day and answering no?
No,
You don't remember? You don't remember giving that answer, ma'am? Are you telling me that?
no, you mean today?
When you said no, do you remember giving that answer?
No.
Do you remember being sworn under oath and giving a statement on the date in question?
I remember being sworn.
Where you might have been asked to affirm, it may be against your religion to swear, you were asked to promise or affirm to tell the truth.
Yes.
You were also on that occasion.
Yes.
Your Honor, the witness having indicated that she does not recall giving you this answer in response to that question, I would ask the court's permission then to mark as part of the identified record those 2 pages and enter them into evidence.
There will be no objection, Your Honor.
You may.
I can take care of that and make a copy and put stickers on them later.
That's fine.
Today, ma'am, you indicated that you believe when you saw this car on the second occasion that day that the person beckoned to Jennifer.
Yes.
Isn't this the first time you've ever told anyone that she was beckoned over to the car?
No.
When was the first time you told somebody that?
When I was sworn in.
Or affirmed or promised, right? Do you remember being sworn or affirmed or promised before and talking about this right? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Counsel, page 162. Again, starting at line 7, starting at line 9, you remember being asked this question. What happened? And giving this answer. Well, he came down the street and kind of passed my house and looked and stopped, and Jennifer was in the alleyway playing with some kids. Do you remember being asked that question and giving that answer? Do you remember someone asked you then to slow down as far as your speech and your answer? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember then answering, Jennifer was in the alleyway playing with the kids and seemed as though she knew who was in the car and waited? Do you remember being asked that and giving that answer?
Yeah.
Do you remember being asked the question, seemed like she knew who was in the car and giving the answer, yes?
Yes.
Do you remember being asked this? How can you say that? And given this answer, she was waving her hand and smiling. Do you remember being asked that question and giving that answer?
Yes.
Do you remember being asked, then what happened?
I'm sorry. Yes.
And testifying at that time, she went over to the car. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Is there any place in there that you mentioned the man in the car beckoning her over?
Well, I mentioned that he beckoned for her to come here.
Pardon me?
I mentioned that he beckoned for her to come there.
You didn't do that on that day that you were testifying before or giving a sworn statement, though, did you? Do you remember?
Yes.
Mrs. Pemberton, did you have a chance to look over things that you had given sworn statements about before coming in today?
No, I didn't.
So you didn't have a chance to remember how many times you were sworn or affirmed and how many times you testified?
No.
Do you remember a time back long ago when you had to come over to the Scott County Attorney's Office to have some questions asked, and you were either sworn or affirmed to tell the truth?
Yes.
And do you, on that occasion, can you recall that on that occasion you did use the word beckon, that you thought you saw him beckon?
I think so.
I'm not trying to trick you.
Okay.
Let me come up here, let me show you. See the front page of this where it says deposition of Diane Pemberton?
Yes.
And I'm referring now to page 8.
Counsel, can we be part of this?
We can't hear you down there. I can barely hear you.
Probably because I'm trying not to shout at the witness, I'll try to project. So this document is your deposition, and this is page 8. And if you look down here, you can see that line 15, you said, back when you gave your deposition, you thought you saw him beckon to her, right?
Yes.
So you did say that earlier.
Yes.
Now, do you remember on that same occasion, when asked if you were certain about him beckoning, that you indicated that you're not for sure, but I know she went over to the car? Do you remember giving that answer?
Yes.
So on that occasion, in your deposition, you thought you weren't sure, but you thought he had beckoned, and on that occasion, the court reporter's transcript would indicate that you didn't see that car before, but you don't remember that.
Yeah. No.
And today you recalled again that he beckoned.
Yes,
Now today, are you sure that he beckoned?
yes,
You told us before that the man seated next to you, the person you pointed to, you know is Stanley Liggins. You testified he was the person driving the car that Jennifer went up to. Now, as you look at Stanley Liggins today, does his hair look any different now than it did on that day?
no,
Thank you very much. Sorry to so.
Do you have any redirect, counsel?
Mrs. Pemberton, the transcript that you have just been shown, is that the first time you actually saw it, the typewritten pages that he gave you and asked you to read portions of, and then read them to you, have you seen those before?
yes,
When?
between 1990 and 91.
I was just going to ask that we restrict our descriptions to years or days.
When was that?
September 19, 1990 or 91.
Certainly didn't see anything in the last couple of weeks, have you?
No, I haven't.
And no matter how the little girl got to the car, she did go to the car, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
And the man stayed there and waited for her.
Yes.
Did the rest of the children go with her?
No, they did not.
What did Jennifer do after she went to the car and met with the man you described as Stanley Liggins?
She was on a bicycle. She turned and went towards 12th Street. She was on 6th Avenue. Turned left going on 12th Street on a bicycle.
How did she go back? Did she go back and join the children she had been playing with?
No, she did not.
From the day Jennifer disappeared, police officers have been knocking on your door.
Yes,
And you told them to the best you could of what you saw.
yes,
Was Rock Island Detective Noon one of those people, if you recall his name?
it sounds familiar.
The detectives from the Rock Island and the Davenport Police Departments did come to you.
Yes, they did.
Were you able to give them a partial license plate of the car you saw?
Yes,
What did you tell them?
that it had weed on it.
State's Exhibit 86A, can you, from there, read the license plate for the jury?
Yes,
What is it?
WE7743.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any recross, counsel?
No.
Thank you. You may step down. Well, it's about 7 minutes to noon. Did you want to take a lunch break now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 5 minutes to 12. We'll go ahead and take a lunch break till 1:15. Keep the information in mind and do not discuss the case. And we will try and get started right again at 1:15. Please rise to the